Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. So I'm Alicia from Alicia Be Creative. For those of you that are brand new to my channel, I usually create all things tumbler tutorials as well as other resin related crafts. But today I'm going to be showing you how to create a fall inspired tumbler decal. So I'm going to be using Procreate today to show you how to create this decal, and you certainly can use other mediums including Cricut Design Space or Canva to create your images, but I wanted to show you how to utilize Procreate for anyone who is either new or beginning. I've been playing with Procreate for quite a while now. I've actually got an amazing mentor, Morgan, who is that little logo lady on Instagram. I'm in her mentorship group and I've learned so much, and I've been able to create my own decals that I've been able to then put on cups and also sell as digital files on my Etsy shop. So I want to show you how to create this super cute design that I came up with literally just within 24 hours. And I wanted to show you guys how we can create this decal in Procreate, and then you're going to see me use it on a tumbler tutorial coming up soon. So let's go ahead and get started. So first things first is you're going to want to have the Procreate app. So I believe that Procreate is only an app that can be used on an iPad or something Apple related. I'm not sure that it can be utilized on your phone, but obviously an iPad of any sort should be able to get you to be able to download this. I'm not sure if there's an Android version of this too, but you can use something like Photoshop as well to be able to do something similar. I know a lot of people gravitate towards Canva because Canva has a free option, but also a paid option, which can also be able to create some really cute and fun designs. So we're going to be using Procreate today, and I'm going to show you what we're going to be making today. So first things first is when you open up Procreate, you won't have all these things. This is obviously some of the design work and things that I've been working on. But when you're opening Procreate, there's a couple things to know and take into account. So this is kind of like your screen. So all of your saved files and anything that you've created using the Procreate app, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna click the plus sign, and the plus sign is going to open up canvas options. The option that I'm going to use is I'm going to use a 4x6 photo. So this is an option that I do not believe is automatically installed in Procreate, but you can create this as a canvas that you can easily click to as sort of your base canvas. So in order to create a canvas, a specifically sized canvas, you're going to click this plus button right here. And then here is where you can select the width and height. Now notice though that this is done in pixels. If you want to switch it to inches, centimeters, millimeters, you can do that so down here. So I'm going to click inches, and I'm going to do 6 inches wide by 4 inches in height, okay? And then I would just click create, and that would give me that sizing. You can also change the title here. So obviously you don't want it to name it Untitled Canvas. We can name this maybe Tumbler Decal. That way we know that this is really a pretty good size for us to use to be able to create our tumbler decals on. So I'm gonna go ahead and create that. And now I have that blank canvas which has opened for me, okay? So I'm going to be doing a lot of things in here that may be brand new to you, and so I'm going to try and go as slow as I can without making this a 9-hour tutorial. But I am going to show you everything that I do step by step. And of course, if you have questions, feel free to ask me them in the comment section down below, or feel free to send me a message, send me an email, contact me on Instagram, Facebook, however you choose to message me, and I'll try and help you out that way as well. So the first thing I'm going to actually do is I'm actually going to come out of Procreate for a minute because I want to get a color palette. So I have a color palette in mind, and it's fall themed, and I'm really into the purple, yellows, and oranges that fall can also kind of represent. So I want to stay away for some of those more traditional browns and reds, but more or less gravitate towards some of those more colorful fall palettes. So I love to go to Pinterest as my go-to for creating and finding sort of different palettes to use. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create and just type in fall palette, okay? So fall palette is going to bring up a bunch of different designs here. And so you can choose whichever you'd like. And you can even use maybe an inspiration photo and some colors that you love in that inspiration photo to help you create your palette in Procreate. So I'm going to select this image right here that I found. I really love these colors and it really goes with the vibe and the aesthetic of the cup that I'm creating for a tumbler tutorial. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save this image. So in order to save this from Pinterest, I'm just going to click the three dots. I'm going to click download image. That's going to download my image. And now I can go back over to Procreate, okay? So now I'm back over in Procreate and I'm going to show you how you can add those colors to your palette. So you'll see once you click the little circle tab, which is actually where your colors are, this is where you can create all your palettes. So you won't have all the palettes that I currently have if you're brand new to Procreate, but you can create as many palettes as you'd like. So in order to create a brand new palette, you'll see I already installed the colors here, but in order to create a palette, you're just gonna click the plus sign, create new palette, and then it's going to give you a blank palette that you can add the colors that you wish to, okay? You can change the title of it, type in fall color palette, okay? And then at this point, you could choose to go to the disc and choose your colors that way and just add your colors. So let's say I wanted to do an orange and I really like this orange here, okay? So it's highlighted and then I'm just going to push it down onto my palette, okay? To get rid of that, I can just hold that and delete the swatch and then choose to add others. So I'm gonna show you how to add to your palette from a photo, okay? So we're gonna go up to this little wrench tool here and we're going to go to add and we're gonna go to insert a photo, okay? So this is gonna bring up my photo album here and I'm gonna select the image that I've already downloaded from Pinterest and that is going to be the colors that I'd like to use, okay? So I've just used my two fingers to kind of resize it. I'm gonna click off this little arrow button, which is what makes the image highlighted all the way around. And I'm gonna go back to my palette here, which is empty, okay? So in order to load these colors that are here, all I'm gonna do is take my Apple Pencil, I'm going to hold it down on the color, and it's going to change the color of my pencil. And then I'm just going to press in one of the squares, and that's gonna upload that color. So I'm gonna do that for all of the colors, and we're gonna add those to the palette here. Okay, and so that's my favorite way to add colors to a palette. I just find that it's easier. You can import colors directly from a photo, but it will really grab all of the colors, which sometimes can be super overwhelming. I like to just look for palettes on Pinterest and then just use the bubbles or color swatches that they give you as the colors to create my palette, okay? So I'm gonna get rid of this image, and the way I'm gonna do that is I'm just gonna go to my layers here, which is that double paper look, and then I'm going to swipe to the left and I'm just going to clear that layer because we don't need that. Okay, so I'm gonna go in and select just a black for now, just for the sake of showing how we're gonna get into this decal. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a circle. So this image is going to be a circle decal, okay? So I'm just gonna take my pencil and I'm gonna create a circle and meet it on the other side, and then you're gonna see that it's gonna snap my image into place, okay? So it's created an ellipse for me, but of course I want a circle. So I'm just gonna go straight up here where it says edit shape. I'll do that again. I was too slow in my creating there. Edit shape, and it'll give you an option between ellipse and circle. I'm gonna select circle because I want a circle shape, okay? And I know that I wanna make this circle bigger. I don't want it to be too small. I want it to be almost the size of my canvas here. So I'm gonna go back to my mouse tool here, click that, and then I can go ahead and stretch my circle here. Okay, click that off. And now what I'm gonna do is I wanna fill in the circle. So instead of going and coloring inside my circle, I'm just gonna go to my color swatch here, which is the color I'm currently using, black, and just drag and drop my black. Try that again. Drag and drop my black, okay? So that made my entire circle black, which is what I'm going to want for this. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do here is we're going to begin to use our colors here, okay? So I'm just resizing my canvas with my fingers, kind of zooming it in, if you will, so I can see a little bit better. But I'm going to go to my layers first, and I'm going to go ahead and click the plus sign. The plus sign is going to create a layer above my circle, which is what I want because I want to change the color of my circle here, okay? So now I'm going to go to my colors, and I'm going to start with this yellow golden color. Okay, I'm gonna go to brushes, and I'm gonna choose a brush that is just pretty simple and easy to use. My favorite brush is the monoline brush, but when I'm painting something, you can also use like an airbrush. So I'm gonna use the medium airbrush here. It just makes my lines a little bit thicker, which is kind of what I'm going for. So this toggle here makes your pen sort of thick or thin, and then this changes the opacity, so how deep it's seen or how translucent and transparent it becomes. Okay, so I'm going to go about midway here, whoops, with this. I don't want it too thick because I got to add 4 different colors here, and I'm just going to swipe and sort of add my colors. So like that was too thick, make it a little bit thinner. Okay, do a couple strokes and strips of that yellow. Then I'm on the same layer. I'm going to go to orange next. Then I'm gonna do my orange. I'm gonna go to this like plum, this magenta color, I should say. Put a couple swipes there. And then finally, I'm gonna go to that deep plum color, and I'm gonna add that to the bottom here, okay? You can add as much or as little color as you'd like. Sometimes I'll go back and forth just to add a little bit more color. Make sure like my colors are even because we're gonna create a beautiful ombre with this. So, that's done, okay? I've gotten the colors I want. It's okay that it's not covering all the way. I don't need that. But I'm going to go to this little magic wand tool here, and I'm going to select Gaussian Blur, okay? So Gaussian Blur is going to kind of muddle and make my colors look more like an ombre, okay? So I'm going to take my pen, and I'm going to drag my pencil to the right, and that is going to begin to increase the Gaussian blur, which is going to start to blend my colors, as you can see. So you can blend this as much or as little as you'd like. I'm going to go with about 26, I feel like is good for me, okay? And I'm good with that. I'm going to go back to my layers, and I want this gradient to be on top of my circle. So in order to do that, I'm going to click on the layer, and this gives you a bunch of different things that you can do with this layer, okay? For the sake of this and getting this image to be on my circle, I'm simply going to go to clipping mask, and that is going to put that gradient directly on top of my circle. At this point, I can take my 2 fingers here, and I can merge those 2 layers together because I don't want my gradient layer to be separated from that base circle. I want it to remain on top to stay permanent just like that, okay? So now we're gonna get into going over to Creative Fabrica and downloading a few files that we're gonna use to add some clip art images to our final tumbler decal image. So I'm currently in Creative Fabrica, and I've actually already downloaded the images that I'm going to be using, but I'm going to show you how easy and simple it is to download an image, okay? So I've downloaded the ones that I'm going to be using. I'm using this Fall Breeze Autumn Leaves sort of SVG decal, and then I'm using these really pretty autumn leaves like clip art that we're going to be using to putting on top of our circle decal. Okay, so those are already saved, but I'm gonna show you how very easily you can get these into your Procreate, okay? So let's just search fall leaves as an example. And I'm just gonna download a really quick and easy like file, let's say. Okay, so let's use this one. This is a seamless autumn leaves pattern, okay? So I'm just gonna click on it. Now I pay for Creative Fabrica, so I can use all of these files with a free commercial license. I love Creative Fabrica. There are so many different things that you can use and do with these kinds of patterns, and I absolutely love it because it's a great way to get sort of at your fingertips clip art and different SVGs that you can use for tumblers, for t-shirts, for sublimation, for seamless patterns, so many different ideas and designs, and you get that free commercial license with it as well. So we're just going to use this as an example. I'm not using it for the tumbler decal, but I've opened it and now I'm going to go to download, okay? I'm going to have a pop-up here that's going to ask me if I want to download it, which of course I'm going to download it. And now it's going to download up here. So we're going to wait for that blue bar to fill. It's downloaded. I'm going to click that drop down arrow. And this is the top seamless pattern that we're going to download. So this is going to bring me over to my files section. And now we're going to search for the pattern. The one thing I will definitely like to tell you is that everything will load in alphabetical order, but you're going to want to remember what that was called before you go directly to your files to look for it, because it can get really kind of crazy, especially if your files looks anything like mine, which is like a million things are in here and nothing is organized. I should take time to organize it, but have I yet? I have not. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go search for that pattern. So it was called Seamless Autumn. So I'm just going to scroll down to the S's here. So here's my Seamless Autumn pattern. I'm going to double click on that, and that's going to open up the file, the zip file. We're going to open up that folder. And now we have two files here. Okay, so here's the first file, which is the one we're going to use. And then this is the EPS file, which I typically don't use for anything. But usually the SVG or PNG files are the ones that I will end up using and saving so that I can use them in Procreate. So we're going to click on that image, and that's going to bring that whole image up. I'm then going to go to this upload button, which is going to allow me to send it to myself via email, to copy it, to airdrop it to my phone maybe. But for this sake, since we want to keep it here while we're using Procreate, I'm going to save the image. And now that image will be saved in my photo album, okay? So let's hop back over to Procreate and let's get started with creating our tumbler decal. Okay, so we're back at Procreate here. And so I'm going to be adding some of the clip art files that I had used to create this decal, okay? So I showed you the ones that I had downloaded. I will list those down in the description box so that you can download those as well if you'd like to recreate this design. So I'm gonna go back to the wrench here because we're gonna upload these as photos, okay? So we're gonna go to insert a photo, and we're gonna select the ones that we want. Every time we add a photo, it's going to add a new layer, so you don't have to worry about going in and adding layers before you add your photos. Anytime you add text or a photo, it all comes in as its own layer. And then of course, if you want it to permanently be part of another layer, you can just sort of merge those layers together with your fingers, okay? So I'm going to be using quite a few of these. So I'm going to just quickly go through and get these all on my canvas. Okay, so now I have added the photos of all of these images, and you'll also notice that all of these came in without a background, okay? So I made sure to save the PNG file when I downloaded the files to my file section. If you try to save the JPEG or try to save the SVG, it's going to come in with a background, a white background around it, and you don't want that. So make sure that you're saving the PNG files that have the transparent background so that you can use these and be able to layer them and only see the images. So I have all of these in my canvas here, and if I open up my layers, you're gonna see all of the leaves here sort of in their own layer, okay? So I'm gonna start to play around with these and kind of get them placed the way I want here at the bottom portion of my circle here in order to kind of create a beautiful fall decal look, okay? Okay, so now I kind of have all of these layered, I think, in the way that I want here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up my layers and I'm going to merge all of the leaves together, okay? And then what I'm going to do, because I'm still on this layer, is I'm going to select the mouse tool and I'm going to enlarge in this a little bit. I kind of decided that I wanted the leaves a little bit bigger, but I didn't want to have to go back and play with all of the sizing. So I'm going to accomplish that by sort of enlarging the image that I started with. And then when I feel like I'm satisfied, I'll click off that layer. And now we're going to do the same thing we did with the gradient here with these sort of autumn leaves here. And so I'm going to click on that layer and I'm going to click clipping mask. And that's going to clip this to this so that I can still see the integrity of the bottom portion of this circle. So bam. So that's what it looks like so far. And if I wanted to, I could continue to enlarge in that if I just wasn't happy with how that looked. I like that a little bit better, okay? So now we're gonna go ahead and input the SVG that I downloaded as well. So we're gonna go back to the wrench. We're gonna go to insert a photo. And we're gonna click this decal, which has a transparent background as well. This is an SVG. But I copied or downloaded, I should say, the PNG and saved it. And we're gonna go ahead and kind of get this centered here. So you're just gonna play around with the placement here to get it centered where you'd like. As soon as you get that cross there, that means it's directly in the center of your image here. Okay. And of course that came in on its own layer. So now with this, I want to make these words white. So I'm going to swipe the layer that has the wording on it to the left, and I'm going to duplicate it. So we're going to select the top image here, and that's what we're going to work with. So I'm going to clipping mask just a white paintbrush over the top of this to make the words white. So I'm going to add a layer on top. I'm going to switch my color to white. Actually, I think I have a white in a palette somewhere. And we are just going to color over top of this, okay? Then we'll go to the layers, we're gonna clipping mask, and that's gonna make that first image white, okay? So I'm gonna merge those two top layers together. So I have a top image white, and then I have an image that's a duplicate right below that's going to be black. We're gonna go to that image, okay? Click on that, and so you won't be able to see it here, but what we're going to do is we're going to Gaussian blur that to create a little bit of a offset slightly for the wording so that the wording really stands out. So we're going to go to our magic wand, Gaussian blur, and we're just going to blur this background until we're kind of satisfied. So as you can see, as I continue to go to the right, the letters become more prominent for the white SVG on top, okay? So just until you're satisfied, I'm good with 3% here, okay? And I'm good with that, and I'm gonna go back to my layer and I'm gonna duplicate this to make this a little bit more prominent. So I'm just going to swipe the black that we just Gaussian blurred to the left and duplicate it, and you'll see that that darkened up that image there. So I can go through and merge those two black layers, and I'm feeling pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and merge all of my lettering all together. You can keep as many layers as you want. You do not have to merge. I'm someone who likes to merge as I go, but it's completely up to you. So I'm pretty satisfied with how that's looking, but I don't like that this is such kind of a plain background. So I want to create like a white circle around that. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to turn off the background color since the background color is white. So I'm going to turn that off. Okay. And I'm going to create another layer on top of everything here. And I'm going to go to my brushes and I'm going to go to calligraphy and I'm going to click my monoline brush and I'm going to create another circle. So I'm going to create a circle just like we did at the start. I'm going to edit the shape, make it a circle, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop the white right into that, okay? So we want this image to be below the image. So we're going to go to our layers and we're going to move this layer here under this circle so that it's the bottom layer. So anything that's on top furthest to the top is going to be what's on top in your image. Anything that's down below is going to be your base layer, or at the bottom or in the back, okay? So we're gonna drag this layer by holding it and just dragging it below, and that will now be below the image. You'll see our layer is still highlighted, so we're still working with that layer, and we're gonna go ahead and click the mouse tool. And we're just gonna kind of size this until satisfied around the original circle, okay? So I'm gonna play with the sizing here and make sure that's centered, and voila. So once you're satisfied with absolutely everything, you can go ahead and merge all your layers, and now you have a beautiful fall decal to use on your tumblers. So the one thing you're going to want to make sure to, before you save this, is make sure that that background color is turned off. Otherwise, you'll have an image when you save it to your files that will have that white backing, okay? So make sure your background layer is off, but easily to save this, all you do is go to the wrench tool, go to the share button. Then you can go ahead and save it as any of these files. I typically will save it as a PNG because that's going to guarantee my transparent background. So I'm going to save it as a PNG. It's going to export, and then I'm going to go to save image. And now if I am to go to my photo album, I have that image right here saved and ready to go. So I could easily just take this and import it right into Cricut or import it into a Word doc and get this printed. So obviously if you put this into your Cricut or your Silhouette, you can go ahead and use the print and cut feature to be able to size this and cut it to fit your tumbler. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's tutorial. If you did, definitely give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It was a lot of fun to be able to do this. I never get to share sort of the behind the scenes of how I come up with my decals and how I create things and how I've been utilizing Procreate to create some absolutely beautiful and amazing designs. So definitely be sure to comment below what you loved about today's tutorial. And if you have other suggestions for me or would like me to go in depth about Procreate or other things related to tumbler decals, definitely be sure to leave that in the comment section as well below. So I'll see you guys again, of course, in the next one. Bye.